Incredible discovery. Single mum's life-changing ride in the rain reveals hidden love after 10 years. Shayla sat in her car, rain hammering against the windshield like 1,000 heartbeats, echoing her own frantic pulse. The gloomy afternoon mirrored every burden she carried: 2 demanding jobs that consumed her days and nights, and a vibrant daughter, Lily, who deserved more than what Shayla could give. Every droplet that hit the glass seemed to whisper of lost dreams and hidden aspirations. 5 years had slipped away since her husband walked out, leaving her to navigate a world that felt heavy and relentless. As she turned the key, the engine sputtered before settling into a quiet hum. Alone in her metal cocoon, memories flooded her mind. Jake, her high school sweetheart with his charming grin and bright blue eyes. They had laughed together, dreamt together, and promised a future filled with love and joy. Now he felt like a ghost, lost in the back of her mind like the fleeting clouds above. Shayla's phone buzzed insistently on the passenger seat, breaking her reverie. A community fundraiser for veterans. She sighed, dismissing it with a wave of her hand. It was just another obligation she couldn't afford to take on. But as the rhythmic sound of rain drummed steadily against her car, something shifted within her. Memories of unity at block parties, shared struggles over backyard fences, and the bonds that shaped her little town sparked a flicker of hope. Wasn't the community meant to lift one another up, especially in tough times? With newfound determination, Shayla wiped her face and drove to the fundraiser, resolving to reclaim a part of herself that had dimmed over the years. As she entered the community center, a wave of warmth enveloped her, mingled with the sense of hamburgers and popcorn as laughter mixed joyfully with conversations. Faces she recognized from grocery lines and school events quickly greeted her, smiles brightening the dim lighting of the hall. In the midst of laughter and shared stories, her heart skipped a beat. There he was, Jake. Time had sculpted him, adding depth to his frame, his warm smile still alive amidst the years. Their eyes locked, and the past surged back with a force she never anticipated. Old feelings crackled in the air, sparking an impossible hope that maybe, just maybe, there was room for second chances. Before she could gather her thoughts, water rushed around them like a metaphorical deluge, forcing her to confront the harsh realities of life. They exchanged small talk, sharing snippets of lives lived apart, each story wrapped in laughter, but soaked in unspoken burdens. Each glance stirred emotions she thought had settled, the thrill of possibility intermingling with her apprehension. Would he still want her, a single mother with baggage, or was she just a nostalgia trip he found amusing? Just as she felt ready to dive deeper, the wail of a siren sliced through the air, pulling them back into present reality, a stark reminder of the chaos life could bring. The stakes were higher now as cries of alarm echoed from outside. Just like that, a familiar face rushed past, urging her to remember what mattered. Redefining dreams and understanding family was the heart of it all. Shayla stood on the precipice of a decision, hearts and hopes woven together in a tangled web. When she finally looked into Jake's eyes, she felt the weight of their history and the uncertainty of their future. Could they build something more than a flickering flame from the embers of the past? In that storm of emotions, the world around them faded, and only one question remained. Was she ready to let go of the pain and embrace the possibility of love again? Shayla felt a heat rising in her cheeks as she held Jake's gaze longer than either of them likely intended. The laughter around them faded, replaced by a profound silence that charged the air. She could almost hear her heart beating a frantic rhythm, the kind she thought she'd buried beneath layers of daily life. Was she prepared to face the past, to untangle their shared history, and possibly unearth feelings long thought extinguished? With a slight tremor in her hands, Shayla reached for the edge of the table. Just then the sirens outside grew louder, pulling her attention back to the reality swirling just beyond the door. Shayla's thoughts flashed to Lily, her sweet daughter, who would be waiting at home. The thought twisted her stomach. What if? Shayla? Jake's voice pierced through her spiraling thoughts, bringing her back to him. He was searching her eyes, trying to read the unspoken words, the feelings both terrified and exhilarating. Are you okay? Without thinking, she nodded, but the tightness in her throat betrayed her. This was more than just a chance encounter. It felt like a crossroads. An old flame sparked under the weight of maturity, a fire fueled by memories and what-ifs. She needed to speak, to reflect, yet the words felt lodged in her throat. "Hey, let's step outside," Jake suggested, glancing toward the commotion brewing at the entrance. "Get some air." His invitation brought a comfort Shayla hadn't realized she craved. The chaos and laughter of the community event, although initially welcoming, now seemed like a cacophony drowning her in uncertainty. She took a steadying breath and followed him. Once outside, the rain had lessened to a soft drizzle, creating a silvery sheen on the pavement. Cars splashed through puddles, creating a rhythmic percussion that oddly felt in tune with her heart. Shayla stood beside Jake, feeling the tension of the moment slip just a fraction. Could she dare to share her dreams or fears with him? "It's been so long," she finally said, crossing her arms as if to hold herself together. The coolness of the evening air contrasted with the warmth of his presence. "How have you been?" He smiled, but it was tinged with something deeper. "Busy, like everyone else, I guess. Work, family. You know how life goes." He paused, hesitation lacing his words. "I didn't see you at the reunions." "I couldn't," Shayla replied softly. The memories of those years cut deep. I had to focus on Lily, on surviving, really. Surviving. I can understand that. Jake's expression darkened slightly. It was a powerful acknowledgement of common ground, the struggles they had both faced since parting. Shayla took a step closer, compelled by the desire to connect. "I've often wondered about you, about what happened," she admitted. The silence stretched between them, thickening with unspoken emotions. "Me too," Jake said quietly, his eyes holding hers with an intensity that made her heart race. "I always thought we might find our way back to each other someday." The vulnerability in his words sent ripples through her. Could it really be true? But could they ever step back into the lives they had left behind? Shayla felt the roots of fear wrap around her heart. Before she could respond, more sirens wailed nearby, and a figure rushed through the door. A fire chief, face taut with urgency, shouted for anyone who could assist. "We need volunteers at the scene. An accident on Main Street." The moment shifted again. Jake and Shayla exchanged glances, both feeling the weight of the call to action. "Do you want to?" he started. "Yes." Her answer was immediate and resolute. There was no time to linger in uncertainty any longer. They were making a choice together. As they turned to follow the chaos, Shayla couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just about responding to a call, but about stepping into a new beginning. Could they not only embrace the past, but also forge a new path? In that jumbled swirl of emotions and adrenaline, one thought raced through her mind. If they could face what lay ahead, perhaps they could find the courage to confront the feelings they had buried all those years ago. But as they rushed into the night, the question lingered. What if they weren't ready for the truth that awaited them? Shayla moved with purpose as she and Jake hurried out into the dim-lit streets. The drizzle had transformed the world into a blur of glistening reflections and distant lights. She felt a rush of excitement mixed with anxiety. Could the night bring them closer, or would it only push them further apart? As they arrived at the scene on Main Street, the air was thick with tension. Emergency vehicles adorned the surroundings, their lights flashing red and blue like a heartbeat pulsing in time with Shayla's racing thoughts. She felt the weight of Jake beside her, both a comfort and a reminder of everything unresolved. "Stay close," Jake murmured, his hand brushing against her shoulder. The contact sent shivers down her spine, igniting a flicker of old feelings she had thought extinguished. They both moved toward the center of activity, where a small crowd formed, caught between curiosity and concern. When they reached the front, Shayla caught sight of the scene. A car had smashed into a lamppost, the metal crumpled like tin foil. She could see the driver being helped by paramedics, his face pale and twisted in pain. A wave of empathy washed over her, reminding her how fragile life could be. "Help out over there," a voice barked, bringing Shayla back to the present. A paramedic pointed toward a group of people, forming a human chain to pass supplies. "Let's go," Shayla said, embracing the distraction as she grabbed a blanket and rushed to join in. Jake fell into step beside her, their silent teamwork, a calming rhythm in the frantic energy of the scene. "Do you remember our first volunteer event?" Jake's voice broke through the din, bringing a smile to Shayla's face. "That rainy day we were so soaked but didn't care a bit. How could I forget? You tried to impress me by lifting those heavy boxes," she teased lightly, her heart softening at the memory. "Yeah, it was a total disaster," he chuckled back, but there was something sweet and nostalgic in his tone. "I dropped that one right on my toe. You practically had to carry me to the medic." The laughter hung in the air between them, a brief reprieve from the urgency around them. In that moment, Shayla felt a connection sparkle, like the rain-slicked pavement beneath their feet, bringing back a freshness to the memories they had forged. As they passed supplies and words of encouragement, Shayla couldn't help but reflect on how far each of them had come, through heartaches and lessons learned. But life had a funny way of throwing surprises. Every brush with the past felt like a test. Were they merely reliving fleeting moments, or could this lead to something deeper? The crowd's energy shifted as news rippled among them. Someone was trapped inside the car. Shayla's heart dropped, the gravity of the situation anchoring her thoughts. The fire chief shouted commands, and the urgency escalated. Shayla's pulse quickened, not just from fear but from a sense of impending action. "I can help, let me," she shouted, stepping forward almost without thinking, her protective instincts kicking in hard. She glanced back to Jake, whose eyes reflected a mix of support and worry. "Shayla, wait, it's dangerous," he implored. But she could see the panic in the trapped person's eyes. She couldn't stand by. "We have to try," Shayla pressed, adrenaline coursing through her veins. In that instant of clarity, she understood. This was more than just a rescue. It symbolized taking control, embracing the uncertainties of life and leaning into each other, together. As she advanced toward the vehicle, a sense of determination burned within her. This moment felt pivotal. It was a choice. With every step she took, she felt the weight of her past mingling with the promise of what could be. Jake followed, joining her side. They would face this challenge together. But then, just as she reached her hand out to the car, an eerie silence fell over the crowd. What was about to unfold in that moment felt like a telling prelude to something much larger, a crossroads not only of lives, but of beginnings and endings intertwined. Would they find not only the strength to help a stranger, but also to unearth the buried parts of themselves in the process? The silence was suffocating, stretching out like a heavy fog. Shayla could feel the gaze of the crowd bore into her back, a blend of anticipation and dread swirling around them. She hesitated, her hand hovering just inches from the crumpled metal of the car. The trapped driver was motionless now, and the weight of that stillness clung to her. "Shayla," Jake's voice broke through the tension, ringing firm and clear. "We need to wait for the authorities. They'll know what to do." For a heartbeat, she considered stepping back, but something within her screamed to push forward. What if that were her in there? What if someone she loved was waiting to be rescued? "I can't just stand here and do nothing," she said, her voice sharper than she intended. Jake stepped closer, his eyes dark with emotion. "I understand, but we can't risk your safety." "It's not just about me," she shot back, surprised by the force of her own words. "It's about all of us." The driver's face was twisted in fear, and Shayla felt her resolve harden. She wasn't thinking just of rescues, she was thinking of connections, and this moment felt monumental. She reached out again, this time making contact with the car's exterior, the cold metal grounding her rushing thoughts. Behind her, the murmurs of the crowd grew louder. Someone gasped as another voice cried out for the fire chief. The atmosphere crackled with urgent energy, escalating changes swirling in the electric air. Jake shifted nervously, looking from the vehicle to Shayla. "Shayla, if you really want to help, we should at least get an update from the rescue team. Maybe there's something we can do while we wait." She shook her head firmly and squeezed her eyes shut, allowing everything else to fade away. The noise, the crowd, the uncertainty, they all blurred into nothing. All that mattered now was the person trapped inside that car, the very real life hanging by a thread. Just hold my hand. I need to know you're here." Jake's hand was warm, wrapping around hers as she pushed, her breath steadying. It felt like a connection forged anew against all odds, a reminder of how they had once faced challenges side by side. They had been young, hopeful, and undeniably naive. But in this moment, the bond between them solidified, shaky yet powerful. The sound of ripping metal echoed sharply in the stillness, drawing everyone's attention as the cut of the jaws of life pierced through the tension. It was time. Shayla's heart raced as Jake squeezed her hand tighter, grounding her despite the chaos. The driver let out a small whimper. Shayla leaned closer, her voice gentle and soft. "Help is coming. Just hold on." She dared to look back at Jake, and what she saw in his eyes both terrified and comforted her. She had seen fear before, but this was different. This was a shared resolve, a silent promise that whatever was going to happen next, they would face it together. But then, just as they were about to be thrust into the action of the rescue, a new figure emerged from the crowd. A woman, frantic and pale, rushed toward them. "Is that my son in there?" Her voice was raw, panic-stricken. Shayla's heart broke for her. The urgency shifted now, the fear of the unknown morphing into something heavier. What had started as a night of potential connection now threatened to spiral into something uncontrollable. Shayla looked at Jake, sensing the turmoil around her, feeling the world's weight pressing down. Would they be able to save him? And what would it mean for them when this was all over? The woman's voice was like ice, slicing through the air, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Shayla felt Jake's hand tighten around hers as they both turned to face her. The anguish etched into the woman's face struck deep. It was an agonizing blend of hope and despair, and Shayla instantly recognized the power of that moment. "Is anyone in there?" the woman cried again, her voice trembling. "Please, someone tell me if he's okay." Shayla's heart plummeted. This wasn't just a rescue. It was a mother's nightmare unfolding before them. She felt the rising tide of emotion in the crowd, a collective breath held in anticipation of an answer that might never come. Jake stepped closer to the woman, his voice steady despite the chaos. "They're working on it. They have the tools to get him out. Just keep faith." The woman nodded, but Shayla could see the flicker of doubt in her eyes, a question that only silence could answer. Shayla wanted so badly to say something, to offer comfort, but the heaviness constricted her throat. Moments dragged on, stretching time until it felt like the air was vibrating. The metallic crunch of the jaws of life filled the space, drowning out everything else. Each scrape felt like a countdown to something monumental. Then Shayla noticed a flash of light from inside the car. It was quick and fleeting, but enough to ignite a spark of hope. "Can you see anything?" she called to the rescue team, her voice stronger than she felt. A paramedic looked back, determination in their eyes. "We're almost through, just keep talking to him." With every word, every reassurance, Shayla could feel the connection growing not only between her and Jake, but also with the woman who was losing hope. It was overwhelming, their lives entwined in this moment of desperation. "We're here," Shayla called out, her voice almost breaking. "You're not alone, help is coming." The driver groaned again, a sound that echoed in the stillness, drawing fresh gasps from the crowd. Shayla's heart raced. Would he hear them? Would he know they were fighting for him? The mother stumbled forward, her eyes wide. "Please, can he hear me? My love, please hang on. I'm right here." Shayla felt hot tears prickling her eyes. There was something so raw in that declaration, a love that endured against unimaginable odds. It reminded her of her own fears, the love she'd been neglecting while wrapped up in the mundane aspects of her life. Suddenly the car door was pried open, the metallic screech blending with the sounds of the crowd. A paramedic clambered inside, searching for the driver, while another motioned for backup. "Can you get him out?" Shayla asked, hope threading through her voice. They worked quickly, moving with precision, but each second stretched longer than the last. Shayla was drawn into the scene, her breathing syncopating with everyone's gaze fixed on the opening of the car. Then, it happened. They pulled the driver free, and a wave of relief washed over the crowd, an unspoken cheer rising from the depths of despair. But Shayla's elation was short-lived when she noticed the driver's face pale, lifeless, as they rushed him past. "No, please," the woman shattered, her cries peeling back the layers of sound. Shayla felt her own heart fracture alongside the mother's desperate plea. She knew then that they weren't just there to witness the rescue. They were faced with the harsh reality of loss and the weight of love under dire circumstances. Shayla. Jake's voice was a whisper, full of uncertainty and fear. She turned to him, the understanding etched deeply into their expressions. They weren't going to leave this unchanged. As the paramedics worked, the crowd fell into an uneasy silence, the tension simmering just below the surface. Shayla looked at Jake, and in that brief connection, they both realized how life could pivot in an instant. Would love conquer the aftermath of despair, or would the pain of this night linger in their hearts forever? Shayla sought to hold on to warmth in the cooling dusk, the feeling of Jake's hand in hers. But as the cold wind brushed against them, a gnawing question emerged. What would happen next? Would they be strong enough to face whatever came after this? Shayla's mind spun as the scene continued to unfold around her. The mother wailed, her pain echoing in Shayla's heart. Each note struck a familiar chord, unearthing memories of loss and vulnerability she had tucked away. It was as if a dam had broken, flooding her with feelings she thought she had mastered. The crowd shifted restlessly, a mix of anguish and empathy swirling among them. Jake squeezed her hand tighter, his thumb brushing lightly over her knuckles, anchoring her in the storm of emotions. "We should help, maybe," he started. But Shayla shook her head, unsure what they could possibly do. "Help," she echoed, her voice struggling to rise above the din. "What can we do? We're just us." "I don't know, Shayla, but standing here feels wrong. We should do something." Before she could respond, the paramedics emerged from the chaos, their faces obscured by shadows, but their urgent shouts cutting through the night. "We need space. Clear out." The mother fell to her knees, her cries raw and desperate, a haunting contrast to the cool night air. Shayla watched, transfixed, unable to look away from the raw emotional power unfolding before her. For the first time tonight, she felt the profound weight of her own choices. "Do you think she'll be okay?" Jake asked softly, his voice trembling slightly. "I don't know," Shayla admitted, barely above a whisper. "What does okay even mean now?" Jake gazed at her, his eyes searching. "This is what life is, Shayla. It's not always pretty. We can't forget or run from it." His words resonated, rattling her insides. She thought of the last few months, how she'd buried herself in routine, grocery shopping, work deadlines, late-night shows, to avoid confronting the deeper fears sleeping beneath her surface. But watching the mother struggle, it felt like waking up from a long slumber. Suddenly the crowd swirled as the mother was pulled into the paramedics' embrace, her cries now mingling with muffled voices, trying to console her. Shayla fought back tears. In that moment, she realized despair traveled fast, and hope could flicker out just as quickly. Mirroring the woman's upheaval, Shayla could feel something shifting inside her. As painful as it was to witness, it awakened a truth she had been ignoring all along. "I don't want to live like this anymore," she whispered. Jake's gaze bore into her, and she knew he was feeling it too, that moment of reckoning between who they were and who they wanted to be. With a deep inhale, Shayla turned to him. "Let's not just walk away. Let's be here. For them. For us." They stepped forward, reaching out to help the mother rising from the ground, offering arms that trembled with empathy. The world around them faded in intensity, only the sound of sobs and whispered comforts filling their hearts, and the undeniable connection between them blossomed in the debris of pain. But amidst the galvanizing sense of community, of being part of something greater, another question surfaced in Shayla's mind. Would they have the courage to face their own truths, to brave the storms life tossed their way? The night deepened, the air cooling as roiling clouds overhead promised a storm. As they stood in the center of the unfolding drama, anticipation hummed around them. What challenges awaited, waiting to be faced? Would they find the strength to rise with hope once they knew the depth of their love? As the mother's cries began to fade into softer sobs, Shayla noticed the way the crowd slowly shifted from chaos to a more subdued, almost intimate atmosphere. The paramedics worked diligently, their voices low yet urgent, as they moved with practiced efficiency. Jake and Shayla stepped closer, their hearts aching for the woman who had just lost something that words could barely capture. In that moment, surrounded by strangers who felt like friends in shared grief, Shayla realized how essential connection was. She looked at Jake, who was becoming her rock, steadfast as life's storms raged around them. "Let's check in with her," Jake suggested, his voice barely above a whisper now that the chaos had calmed a bit. Before she could hesitate, Shayla nodded. They approached the grieving mother still on the ground, the paramedics pausing to give her a moment. Shayla knelt down beside her, feeling the cool wetness of the grass beneath her knees. We're so sorry," she managed, her voice trembling. "Can we help?" The woman looked up at them, her face streaked with tears but with a flicker of gratitude in her eyes. Just stay," she breathed, reaching out to grasp Shayla's hand with shaky fingers. "Just stay." Shayla's heart swelled in her chest. It felt monumental, this simple act of being present in someone else's pain. This is what humanity was, standing beside each other, often without knowing the right words to say, yet offering the warmth of shared existence. They lingered there for what felt like hours, alongside the paramedics who continued to work silently. They waited until her breath steadied, her head bowed, a silent acceptance weaving through the tension. Jake sat on the ground nearby, giving space yet ensuring she knew they weren't going anywhere. Eventually a voice broke through the stillness, a soft, raspy sound. "Her name was Lily," the woman said, her cheeks glistening with tear tracks that sparkled under the flickering streetlight. "Lily was my everything." Shayla's throat constricted. "She sounds so special," she replied softly. "She was bright," the mother continued, as if trying to summon the memory. "She sang as she danced. She had this way of making people laugh, even on the worst days." The air felt thick with each shared memory, and soon Shayla found herself sharing a little of her own life. "I lost someone too," she found herself confessing, surprised by her own vulnerability. "My brother, to a sickness." It hurt to breathe afterward. The connection between them deepened in those moments, each sharing the burden of grief and loss. It wrapped around like a fragile lace, binding them together. As the night unfolded, Shayla felt a stirring in herself, a desire to live more boldly, to embrace the messiness of life. What if this was the moment that propelled them into taking action? What if this loss fueled a fire within them to not just exist, but to truly live? Jake watched her, his eyes filled with understanding. Shayla glimpsed that same yearning reflected in him. It started in their small acts of kindness, a comfort and connection to make unbearable situations just a little lighter. As the first droplets of rain began to fall, splattering softly against the pavement, Shayla sensed a change in the air. The storm was coming, but instead of feeling fear, she felt exhilaration. Could they turn this sorrow into motivation? Could they carry Lily's memory as a beacon to guide them through their own lives? They stood up together, looking around at the crowd that had morphed from strangers to a community. In the dim light, filled with shared suffering, they felt a surge of determination forming. What would they do next? The rain began to pour, but Shayla wasn't afraid. Instead, a question lingered in the air between them. Where would their new path lead? What truth awaited them on the other side of the storm? The rain poured down in sheets, transforming the night into a wash of glistening asphalt and muted city sounds. Shayla and Jake stood close, sharing a moment that felt thick with possibility. The chill in the air was refreshing, a sharp contrast to the heaviness they had just witnessed. She could see the determination in Jake's eyes, a quiet strength that urged her forward. "Let's walk," Shayla said, her voice steady now. She wanted to allow the rain to wash away the lingering sadness, to shake off the weight of loss and replace it with something brighter, hope. Jake nodded, and together they began to move through the downpour. The streets glimmered under the streetlights, each step splashing in puddles that widened with the flow of water. They spoke in low tones, reflecting back on the grief they had just shared with the mother. It felt surreal, as if they were moving through a dream where emotions flowed as fluidly as the rain around them. "I can't stop thinking about Lily," Jake said, breaking the pensive silence. "She was so full of life, It makes you wonder, what does it mean to truly live? Shayla pondered his words, feeling their weight. She hadn't just lost her brother, she had lost parts of herself in that sorrow. I think, she started slowly, that maybe living means embracing everything. Joy, pain, all of it. It's messy and confusing, but it's real. With every step they took, she felt a spark igniting within her, growing from the ashes of shared pain. There was something critical about their experience tonight. Not every person would be brave enough to reach for connection. They had chosen vulnerability instead of running away from it. What if that strength could translate into something meaningful? Before Shayla could voice her thoughts, a loud laugh rang out nearby, rich and warm against the rain's rhythm. They turned toward the sound, noticing a small group of people huddled beneath an awning. They were laughing, sharing stories, letting the moment carry them despite the storm. Let's join them, Shayla said impulsively, pulling Jake toward the laughter. The impulse was nearly magnetic. It felt right, illuminating the path ahead. They approached with tentative enthusiasm. Hey, mind if we share your shelter? Jake asked with a smile. The group welcomed them, motioning with bright faces that beamed despite the rain. Shayla felt a rush of warmth in the company of these strangers, a collective joy swelling around them. As they began talking, Shayla noticed how easily the conversations flowed. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of community she hadn't anticipated. Stories of challenges, victories, and simple joys poured out like the rain itself. Each laugh reminded Shayla that life could still be filled with grace, even in the hardest realities. Then an older gentleman in the group leaned in, his expression serious. You never know how one moment can change everything, he said, his voice rich with experience. Loss teaches us to cherish what we have. Sometimes what we think is a storm is a chance to grow. Shayla's heart raced at his words. Was this the intended pivot from grief to a deeper appreciation of life? The thought struck her as both frightening and exhilarating all at once. As the group continued to share, a sense of duty began to rise in her heart. Standing there, surrounded by laughter and connection, Shayla felt clarity wash over her. They had been brought together not just by the rain, but by shared experiences and the longing to embrace life more fully. Jake, Shayla murmured quietly, her thoughts swirling with excitement. We have to do something. Create an event, maybe, to celebrate those we've lost, to honor their memories. What if we turn this into a movement? Jake's eyes lit up with her idea, the spark igniting the energy between them. Yes, let's turn this heartache into action. With the rain still pouring down, love and laughter ebbing and flowing around them, Shayla felt something shift in her. What new path were they embarking on together? And how far could they take this newfound connection? The potential was palpable, and as the rain gave way to a clearing sky, Shayla couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. A door had opened, and beyond it lay a world full of possibilities. What awaited them in the light after the storm? The air felt electric as Shayla and Jake stepped away from the group, the rain now a gentle mist. Shayla's heart was a whirlwind of excitement and fear. What if their idea sparked a change? What if, just maybe, they could make a difference that rippled outward far beyond their little corner of the world? They found a quiet street, lit subtly by the remnants of a bustling city nightlife. Shayla pulled out her phone, ready to jot down her thoughts. She knew the names of those they'd lost, each one a string of heartache, a reminder of fragility. Would those names stand as echoes in this new venture, or shout in bright celebration? Let's pick a date, she suggested, her fingers flying over the screen. Something soon. I want it to feel like we're honoring them right away while the emotions are fresh. Jake nodded, a certain light in his eyes that encouraged her. How about a month from today? It gives us time to plan, but not too much time that we lose momentum. Perfect, Shayla said, her voice gaining strength. And we can invite everyone we connected with tonight, maybe even reach out to the families in the support group. Let them know they're not alone. As they walked, the idea blossomed, branches of thoughts weaving together. They talked about themes, decorations, what flowers could symbolize hope, and how music could honor the lives they cherished. Each idea sparked joy that pushed back against the darkness that had loomed over Shayla for so long. Suddenly, Jake paused, his brow furrowing slightly. What if we also found a way to help those still suffering? Maybe partner with organizations focused on grief and loss. Shayla's heart sank a little as she processed his words. Could they really take it that far? The idea felt daunting, impossible even. "You think we could?" she asked, doubt creeping into her voice. "Absolutely," Jake replied, a fierceness behind his words that sparked something in her. "We can start small, Shayla, but if we approach organizations, they might be open to collaborating. Nothing's stopping us from making this bigger, right?" She nodded, feeling energy weave through her veins anew. Their loss had birthed an idea that could blossom into something truly impactful. As they made their way back toward their cars, Shayla's thoughts drifted to Lily and all the other faces she had held close in her heart. She would pour her love for them into this event. It wasn't merely a gathering, it was a chance for healing, a platform where others could share their stories. "Jake," she said softly, catching his gaze under the dim streetlight, "I feel like this is the right path for us, like we're meant to do this together." Jake's smile was infectious, lighting up the night. "It feels like we're building something that could change lives, Shayla. Just think about it. If we can save even one person from feeling alone, that would mean everything." The belief in possibility began to unfurl a sense of purpose in her. Yet, beneath that thrill lingered a quiet fear. What if they were too ambitious? What if they hit walls they couldn't break down? Just as those thoughts threatened to pull her under, Shayla shook them off. "Let's do this," she declared firmly. "Let's turn this moment into magic." As they reached their cars, Jake's phone buzzed with a message. He glanced at the screen, surprise dawning on his face. "Who's that?" she asked, a mixture of curiosity and concern churning through her. "Hold on, let me read it," he replied, furrowing his brow. Shayla watched him, heart racing, aware that fate had a funny way of twisting and turning in a way that could alter everything in an instant. "Jake? What's it say?" she pressed, feeling the weight of the moment. He turned toward her, his eyes widened with something she couldn't quite place. "You're not going to believe this." What were the implications of that message? What discovery awaited them that could change everything? Jake's eyes sparkled with a mix of disbelief and excitement as he read the message again. "It's from a local news outlet. They want to cover our event. They heard about the fundraising idea from tonight and want to feature it in their community section." Shayla blinked in surprise, her heart racing. A news outlet? Just like that? Yep, they love the concept of honoring lost loved ones while helping others heal. They want to do an interview and some promo for it. Jake's face lit up, and Shayla felt a rush of warmth cascade through her. This was more than just a community event. It was an invitation to make waves, to share stories beyond their small town, to reach lives they hadn't even considered yet. "This could really make a difference," she exclaimed, her mind racing with ideas. "If we can touch people's hearts through the stories we tell, create a space full of love and memories, imagine how far it can go." Jake shoved his phone into his pocket, his excitement palpable. "We'll have to plan everything carefully. I mean, who knew we'd be getting this kind of attention? With the right strategy, we could even get local businesses involved to support us." Shayla's heart swelled as she felt emboldened by the possibilities. "Let's set up a meeting. We can brainstorm ways to bring more people into it, especially businesses that would feel our passion." The rain had stopped completely, leaving behind a soft mist. Shayla looked at Jake, feeling a shift in their energy. This wasn't just a project anymore. It was a shared vision that ignited their spirits. "Let's go get coffee and dive deeper into this. We need a solid plan." As they drove through the rain-kissed streets, Shayla saw flickers of light pouring from windows, families gathered, laughter echoing within homes. Each scene felt like a heartbeat, reminders of love and unity. The night had shifted from fear and despair to hope and purpose. At the coffee shop, surrounded by the comforting aroma of brewing beans, they pulled out notebooks and ideas began to flow like the rushing water they had braved earlier. They sketched out plans, create an online platform for sharing stories, set up a booth for photos at the event, invite local musicians, even potential workshops for those experiencing loss. "People need to connect and share," Shayla said, focusing intently. "Our stories could help heal others. It's like building a community farm of hope where everyone plants seeds of love that can blossom. We could facilitate support groups. Yeah, Jake replied, scribbling notes furiously. And we can include art to express grief. Paint murals in memory of loved ones. Let's make this a celebration. With each passing hour, they became more and more enthralled. Every laugh, every shared idea beat with a growing synchronized rhythm, echoing their renewed determination. As the night wore on, Shayla began to feel light, a sensation washing over her that had long felt dormant. Not only was this about honoring those they had lost, but it also became about embracing the lives they still had. Every word felt like a step further away from the shadows of despair and closer to the warmth of loving community ties. The conversation paused momentarily, and Shayla looked up, meeting Jake's gaze. "We're doing this, aren't we?" she asked softly. 100%, he reassured her, his voice thick with conviction. But despite the newfound excitement, that earlier question still lingered at the back of her mind. Was she really ready to open herself up fully, and not just to the idea of helping others, but to Jake himself? Their shared joy felt profound, but had also unwrapped emotions she hadn't acknowledged until now. The calm after the storm felt almost deafening, an invitation to dive deeper. Outside, the sky began to clear, stars poking through, much like clarity breaking the weight in her heart. "Shayla?" Jake's voice cut through the quiet. "About all this, what do you think?" An intense gaze locked onto her, overflowing with emotion she could hardly define. Shayla hesitated. She knew deep inside that their connection had transformed. They had witnessed pain, love, and all the in-between together. They had both refurbished their hearts, recoiled from fear, and chosen an uncertain path filled with hope, not just for others but for themselves. Could they arrive at a point where they not only wanted to rebuild homes with grief, but could also let love bloom in them? In that moment, with bright lights glimmering in the background, she felt a heat rising in her cheeks, an invitation to take that brave step forward, not as weary shadows, but as shining warriors. "After everything tonight, I think," she began slowly, her heart racing, "I think we owe it to ourselves to honor our pasts, but also embrace what our future might hold." Jake's expression softened, shifting to something deeper. "You mean? Are you saying—" "The truth is, I want to see where this can go. Disappointment will always come, but if we're truly living, we should do that boldly, together." And in that moment, thighs tightening and pulses quickening, they both realized they were stepping onto a transformative path, peppered with challenges but filled with moments of extraordinary beauty. "Then let's build this together," Jake said, his voice low yet impactful. With that, they laid their plans, weaving threads of hope into their dreams, ready to create a celebration for all loved ones while nurturing the connection blossoming between them. As they left the coffee shop, Shayla breathed in the fresh night air, tinged with possibility. They stepped out into the world anew, a place of light, love, and endless potential. This wasn't just the end of old stories, it was the glorious promise of a beginning filled with warmth. She squeezed Jake's hand, a soft affirmation that together they would navigate whatever lay ahead. And as the moon glowed brightly above, Shayla silently vowed not to let fear anchor her anymore. Instead, they would rise, banishing doubt with passion, taking each shared step forward into the unknown, ready to transform lives in remembrance and love. In that shared belief, they truly felt alive. Now gather around, dear friends, if you've been inspired by Shayla and Jake's incredible journey, filled with hope and transformation. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss any of these exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Your voice matters, so comment below your feelings and reactions to this ending. And don't wait, not even one more second, to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this powerful transformation. Let's create a community that uplifts each other.